Now that we know all the components of the Azure hierarchy, we need to plan the hierarchy before we go any further. It is important to note that while we may not know the future and exactly how the Azure hierarchy will be a couple of years from now, we need to make a best effort attempt at creating the hierarchy with the information we have about the corporation as it stands today. For example, let's say the corporate headquarters is located in Chicago with major branch offices in, let's say, Singapore and London. With this information, we could create a first-level geography management group, one for each of the regions, such as North America, Asia, and Europe. This will allow us to apply policies specifically to meet any regulatory requirements for that country. Next, let's say we have a large development team in Bangalore and we want to create a management group specifically for the team in India. Within these geographical management groups, we can nest other management groups such as environmental management groups, for instance, production and non-production management groups. Every organization is different. However, most corporations start out with this model, but the structure is really up to the designer based on what he or she knows about the organization. Now that we have our management groups defined, let's add the subscriptions. Since we can associate a subscription to a management group, let's start with the simplest subscription and create a non-production subscription to the non-production management groups in each region. Remember, a subscription is a billing component defining the boundaries of what costs are associated with application development in the India region. As an example, you may want to have a mission-critical subscription for the resources that make the company money. Moreover, you could have a subscription for your legal department and so on. Hopefully by now, you see that defining the hierarchy is really, as we mentioned earlier, a best guess based on what we know will meet the needs of the corporation. Lastly, unlike the tenant root group, management groups and subscriptions can be changed over time. It's really not a good idea to make changes because of the disruptions to the business, but it is possible. Moving on, once we have the management groups and subscriptions defined, we can create resource groups within the subscriptions. To recap, a resource group is a container for resources within an Azure subscription. It can be used to organize resources based on their life cycle, such as development, test, and production environments. A resource group can contain resources such as virtual machines, storage accounts, and virtual networks. Each resource group can have its own policies, permissions, and role assignments. Just as we defined the subscriptions, we must also plan our resource groups so we can start adding resources to the environment. In our next lesson, we will look at one very important concept in Azure that we need to apply before the first Azure resource is deployed.